Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the rap music plug at your service.
Here we are again at the end of a rainbow.
The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. What you'll be listening to today is an installment of the Conversation Pieces series. What I'll be doing in this series is shining a light on some inspired gems of creativity in hip-hop that I've encountered, providing expanded thoughts on fly things I've taken from the art, focusing on the how and the why I believe an artist ended up accomplishing something, with a more nerdy intention that gives my completely subjective and biased take on what gives the special somethings in rap their magic. Affable with Pointed Teeth by YUNGMORPHEUS and eyedress is an album I liked quite a bit as soon as it dropped and loved in moments for years now. But then out of nowhere, as I prepped for my recent interview with YUNGMORPHEUS himself, the album just hit an entirely new level for me. Now, while I'll quickly say that this album, although not the focus of this episode, is in fact brilliant, the textures from eyedress's production are mesmerizingly warm, and it just hits this grainy, smooth note that accentuates the super smooth raps and vocal tone from Morph. It's just an amazing combination. But what the main focus actually is for this episode is the profound beauty that comes from instances like I just described, where months, sometimes years later, a piece of music finally clicks. Because in this moment with Affable with Pointed Teeth, not only have I now discovered another great album to listen to for the rest of my life, which is something I never take for granted, but more importantly, it serves as a reminder that patience is everything in life. Unlike in many aspects of my life, time and time again, music is the one area where I routinely live with genuine patience, allowing me to have these experiences with music where I'm coming into a situation where I'm pressing play on an album with a genuine mindset of openness, enabling me to more fully connect with whatever it is I'm hearing, something I feel is necessary to an extent when it comes to being able to actually appreciate music fully, where I show trust in someone else, in this case the artist, and allow myself to be immersed into this world they are attempting to create in their music, ready and excited to connect to something, giving it time, not being judgmental and prematurely deciding that the music doesn't hold any value to me, and instead I give it a chance to breathe, revisiting it for sometimes years to come in the case of Affable with Pointed Teeth and many, many more albums, and reap the benefits from it. This is a dynamic that has happened more times than I can count, to some of my all-time favorite albums even, like Erykah's Mama's Gun, Loveless by My Bloody Valentine, or Mad Villainy. And I see this overall concept of being patient and open with music as a loose metaphor for an optimal way to approach life in general, which is to tackle your real life like pressing play on an album. Think of it this way. Would you ever go into playing an album and be like, ugh, my God, this is gonna suck, isn't it? Not often or mostly ever, right? Would you ever go into playing an album and be like, if this album isn't perfect on first listen, it's clearly not worth my time? Now, for most of the people listening to this show, I imagine you know better and understand that sometimes music needs some time to fully resonate with you. And then finally, would you ever go into playing an album and feel anxious or scared of what you'd hear? Would you be uncomfortable if you ended up loving what you heard? Would you be uncomfortable if you ended up hating what you heard? Obviously not, right? That's nonsensical. So then why do we consistently behave like this in real life situations? Surely there are multifaceted factors and life circumstances that influence why humans live in such a way. That goes without saying. But simply being more intentional about being more open and patient with your life is something I feel we all can strive to do more of, and I think would do us all good. I'm not on that weird TikTok brotrepreneur tip saying that you can just mindset your way to millions of dollars in happiness. All I'm saying is that approaching life through this lens should yield more positive results. Speaking for myself now, this is at least something I want to do more of. I'm feeling especially good about my life currently, the best I ever have, honestly. And it's in moments like this where I often develop this fear of when the other shoe will drop. It's the classic psychological response many of us are aware of by now and have experienced, where your nervous system is attempting to protect you from potential hurt. So it starts anxiously overanalyzing and being hypervigilant in order to make preparations for this inevitable negative fate. This is precisely something I am trying to manage as we speak. And mostly, I think I'm doing a good job with it so far. And that is because I feel I have been able to actively try to approach my life in this moment with this mindset I've been speaking of. To approach life like I do pressing play on an album, where I'm being more patient, not getting fussed about time and scarcity or the fear of something happening in the future. Instead, I'm giving things more time to breathe, not jumping to conclusions or judgments, giving people a chance to reveal themselves to become my metaphorical affable with pointed teeths or mad villainies, doing my best to experience life with openness and a desire to listen and understand. So there we have it, another episode of the Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV. I hope this episode gave you some new perspectives and insights into what the greatest art form known to man in hip-hop music has to offer. If you want to support the show in the most meaningful way possible, it would be my absolute honor to have you as a patron in the new Rap Music Plug podcast Patreon. Through this Patreon, you will be getting exclusive content such as bonus episodes, exclusive album recommendations, exclusive playlists, early access to episodes, and more. And above all, though, you will be able to support the show directly in a way that will not only justify the crazy amount of time I spend on this show already, but allow me to cover some of the expenses related to supporting all of these great artists that we cover on the show through the website, and will allow us to sustain and build on this amazing growth that the RMPP has experienced recently. So if you have any questions about any of the Patreon stuff, or just want to keep tabs on the show, interact with me on rap music and all the great stuff that we can talk about, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at rapmusicplugpod, or shoot me an email at qlctv.podcast@gmail.com. You can also rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify as well. But that's enough self-promotion for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.